YouTube.com/Tim Westwood TV. It's your boy Westwood, Tim Westwood TV. I've been here with my man Yellow backstage. You know what I mean? A Wu-Tang dressing room. You went in early. You handled the warm up. What was that like?
It was you know, the first time I'd ever opened up for the Wu. You know, for a crew so legendary, it's really a lot of pressure for an artist to come with something new, especially from where I'm coming from and the angle that I'm coming from. But I think that there's a mutual respect between myself and the crew. I grew up on Wu-Tang, you know, as a skateboarder and as a hip-hop fan. I grew up on the Wu, you know, and so at the end of the day, I'm a fan of the crew. So, you know, coming out and performing for them and to open up for them is an honor, first and foremost, you know, and to be able to put my music into their fan base's ears is an honor, you know. So it was an experience, man. It was the first time I've ever opened up for the Wu. It's my first time overseas. A lot of first times, you know, right now. So I'm just excited, man. I'm excited to be a part of this this tour. You know, I've had spot dates on my own, and Meth, you know, just showing me love. And he really didn't have to do that at all, but he did. He reached out while he was on stage, and he showed me love, and that was just an amazing feeling, man. You know.
You know who this motherfucker is right here. But I'll tell you something. Chill. We don't co-sign everybody, but I co-sign this motherfucker right here because he's a dope fucking MC. Y'all give it up one time for Mr. Yelawolf. Yes, sir.
As a fan, when looking back, when I used to be 14, 15 years old, just skating in the streets with me and my homies, listening to Wu-Tang, I never imagined that I would be in the UK, you know, in London, performing with Wu-Tang, you know. I never imagined it would happen, but God is good, you know.
Yeah, man. And how you feel in the UK?
It's been amazing so far, man. Like, I think the fans over here have a different appreciation for hip-hop. And in the States, you know, I've built my roots in the States. You know, I've toured with Wiz Khalifa, I've done the Rock the Bells tour, I've done my own tour, the Trump Music tour, and I've done spot dates over and over again. I did South by Southwest. I've done a lot of shows in the past few years, and it seems that over the UK there's they pay attention in a different manner, you know, and I can appreciate that. It's almost like in the US, we look at rock and roll that is produced and made out of the UK with a certain light. It's already like, wow, man, what are they gonna do next? Because rock and roll is so brilliant out here, and hip hop too. So I feel like the UK reciprocates that energy by giving us love for the hip-hop that we're making in the States, man.
Now, the ink game is intense, and it looks like it's all with design, baby. So can you take a guided tour through the ink?
Yeah. All of my ink has been done, basically is culturally influenced or inspiration, you know. The last one I got is called Kill My Nightmare. And I grew up watching horror movies. I started watching horror movies as a little kid, you know. I was like 3, 4, 5 years old when I was watching horror movies. And it gave me like horrible nightmares. So I just took the metaphor of fighting my nightmares into life. Kill My Nightmare just represents, you know, me taking over my fears, you know, and winning.
It looks like you were staving the sleeve for something special.
Actually, I wasn't, man. Nothing is planned. I just walk into the shop, and that day, you know, I get what I want that moment, and I don't have a sleeve planned.
Okay, so what's the piece on the hand there?
This is a buck This is a buck, you know. I grew up around mounted bucks. My pop, my grandfather, my uncles, you know, they hunt bucks, you know, and they mount them. So the buck pretty much represents how I was raised, you know. That's the culture that I was raised around. My logo was a buck with a gold chain around his neck. It just basically means I'm putting the hip hop culture around this culture. Like I'm marrying both of those cultures. So the buck is just a iconic symbol, you know. And along with the catfish, represents the bottom feeder, you know. From the bottom, we come the box Chevy across the stomach, heart of Dixie. Everything is culturally based, you know.
Okay, John Wayne.
John Wayne and Michael Landon on my shoulder. I was named after Michael Landon and John Wayne. Got Michael Landon here, John Wayne here. My birth name is Michael Wayne. My mom was just country like that, you know. Those were her idols, you know, Michael Landon and John Wayne. So she just decided to name me after them. So
okay,
I just paying homage to Mama.
Okay, and what's the piece on the shoulder?
These are two fighting roosters. You know, in the deep south, they fight roosters. You know, it's just part of the culture, and it represents fury and survival. And I got both the rooster heads actually in New Mexico, where it's also a culture. I went out there the first time I'd ever been out there for a show, and a tattoo artist approached me while I was out eating, and he recognized me as Yelawolf, and he was a fan of the music. He said he had a tattoo shop, so I went to his tattoo shop. I wanted to get something culturally relevant to what I represented, you know. Yeah. And New Mexico and Alabama, it's what we have in common is the rooster fight.
And what's the next piece?
The next piece is Riders of the Storm across the throat. And it go on Riders of the Storm, Glory Over Pain. I have the eagle here. You know, it basically represents, the eagle represents, you know, I went on a boat trip out to Alaska, and I don't know if you've ever seen Deadliest Catch, but there's a show on Discovery. Basically, I went out on a boat, and I went on for a full season. I went out to catch.
For a full season, you was working on a boat?
Yeah, I was out at sea for a season. I went out to try to get money for a studio. And I mean, I survived it, you know, and we survived storms and, you know, the deep sea, the Bering Sea. Like, the eagle used to actually come to our boats, try to get scrap fish or whatever. And it just kind of represents, you know, glory over pain represents, you know, what I got from it. I didn't make a lot of money out at sea, but, you know, I became a man, really. But the boat was kind of like the finale of a sequence of events that was happening in my life that were traumatic and, you know, were shaping me as a man and as an artist, you know. And Yelawolf is Native American. It's Cherokee. Yellow is color of the sun, survival, light, power, hunger. Wolf represents my ability to survive and also my being a pack leader, you know, and that's where Yelawolf was born.
YouTube.com/Tim Westwood TV.